I see you functioning, smiling at the right time, posting the right caption, showing up to work like nothing touched you. But when the room goes quiet and the applause fades, your mind turns into a courtroom with no judge, just you, the evidence, and the scenes you replay until the night breaks. You imagine what you should have said. You outline the perfect clapback in your head. You draft 1,000 unsent texts and still wake up feeling robbed. Sound familiar? And the world says, get even. Make them feel what you felt. But heaven might just be whispering, get free, make hell watch you heal. Listen to me, I will not minimize your desire for justice. You're not petty for wanting what's right. You're human, you're chosen, and chosen ones feel deeply because they carry much. But here is the question you've been avoiding because it hurts to ask it. How do you move on when they never apologized and everyone acts like it never happened? Let me speak to the ache under your armor. You keep reaching for closure like it's locked in their hands, but it's not. Revenge promises relief, but it leases your heart to the very darkness that wounded you. It feels like power for a moment, then it chains you to a courtroom you were never assigned to run. The enemy loves that, keeping you litigating while your destiny waits unbuilt. Not on my watch, not on yours. Chosen one, stop chasing revenge. God keeps receipts. He does not misplace pain. He does not round down tears. He is not vague about what you survived. While you were too traumatized to articulate, he was itemizing details. While they walked away looking clean, heaven logged every fingerprint. Your desire for justice is real, but revenge is not your assignment. Freedom is. You want closure. Release is the door, not retaliation. I know what the crowd coaches. Drag them, expose them, make it even. But even isn't your calling. Elevation is, and elevation requires an unentangled spirit. God sees differently. He will allow some to exit stage left without bowing, without admitting, without returning what they stole, because he is reserving the right to settle the account himself, in his time, with his wisdom, without you contaminating your oil. Hear me, the itch to clap back is a signal, not a strategy. It signals a wound that wants witness. Bring it to the one who saw it happen in real time. Bring him the scripts you've written in your head. Hand him the evidence you keep clutching like it's oxygen, because while they sleep soundly, you keep paying interest on a debt he already put on his ledger. So breathe. You're not weak for letting go, you're wise for walking free. You're not erasing what happened, you're ending what it's allowed to do to you. Hell doesn't know what to do with a heart that refuses to be recruited by retaliation. That heart becomes dangerous to darkness. That heart becomes a warning to hell. I won't be owned by what wounded me. I am owned by the one who heals me. Listen to me. Forgiveness is a decision of the heart. Access is a decision of wisdom. Those are not the same door and they do not require the same key. You can release a debt in your spirit and still refuse to hand back the card key to your life. You can bless them and still block the pathway they used to break you. And the world says, if you forgave, why aren't you hanging out again? But heaven might just be whispering, because love doesn't lack discernment, and mercy doesn't cancel boundaries. It's not excusing, it's exiting, it's not forgetting, it's unfastening, it's not denial, it's deliverance. Forgiveness is where you cut the rope that tied your heart to their harm, so you stop dragging yesterday into every new morning. Access is where you guard the doors of your destiny with the wisdom you bled for, and maybe that's you. You've confused compassion with proximity. You thought to prove you were holy, you had to act like nothing happened. No, holiness includes wise distance. Distance can be spiritual hygiene, not bitterness. Sometimes God says, wash your hands, close the gate, and keep your heart clean. Yes, it was betrayal. Yes, it was unfair. Yes, what they said and did was real. I won't minimize it, and God doesn't either. But here is what he will not allow. You poisoning your own spirit, trying to punish theirs. Vengeance is a venom that circulates in your bloodstream while you wait for theirs to shut down. Forgiveness is the antidote that saves you first. The enemy wants you to believe that to heal you must reopen the door. But wisdom says, not this time. Mercy flows from your heart. Access flows from their proven character. That's not cruelty, that's clarity. Hear me. Forgiveness does not rebuild what they broke. It releases you from having to be the architect of their consequences. It hands the case to the only judge who never misses evidence, and it empowers you to set new terms. You can say, I forgive you, and also say, you don't get to sit this close anymore. You can say, I release you, and also say, my peace costs more than your apology. That's not hardness. That's honor for the temple you are. God is not asking you to pretend. He's asking you to stop paying rent to that memory. Evict the replay. Cancel the lease. Unfasten the hook. Let the scene go so the scar can breathe. And while you are letting go, raise your standards. You are not a doormat. You are a gatekeeper. You are not gullible. You are guarded with God. It wasn't rejection. It was redirection into healthier patterns, holier pace, safer rooms. So, forgive. Not to prove they were right, but to prove hell is wrong about you. Forgive and keep your boundary. Forgive and keep your distance where trust is still a rumor. You are not required to host what hurt you to prove you're healed. You are required to keep your heart clean so your hands can build. Clean heart, clear spirit, closed door where wisdom says, not yet. That is not fear, that is formation. That is how chosen ones walk free. Now let me expose the trap that keeps trying to bait you after you've chosen release. The enemy packages revenge like justice in designer wrapping. It feels like control. It surges like power, but it's counterfeit power, a rush without restoration. It mimics authority while multiplying bondage. You think you're driving the car, but you're handcuffed to the steering wheel of yesterday, and the world says, take back your power, but heaven might just be whispering, take back your peace. Listen to me. Revenge doesn't restore you. It recruits you into the same darkness that hurt you. Here is how the trap tightens. You rehearse it. You rewrite it. You relive it. You rerun the scene in the shower, in traffic, in the checkout line. You argue with ghosts and win fake trials. And every replay reattaches you to the offender. Every mental monologue restitches what God just severed. Every imaginary comeback signs a new lease on your nervous system. Darkness loves unpaid emotional debt because it keeps you busy with interest instead of investing in destiny. It loves you scrolling their page like you're subpoenaing evidence. It loves midnight arguments in your mind more than midnight worship from your mouth. It's not just mental, it's spiritual. The goal is distraction, not just destruction. Keep you so entangled with yesterday that you miss the whispers of destiny today. Count the cost. Revenge steals sleep. It taxes your focus. It hardens your softness. It clutters your creativity. It numbs intimacy with God. Your worship turns into a witness stand. Your prayer life becomes prosecution briefs. You bring the Lord exhibits instead of surrender. You wake up heavy, go to bed wired, and in between you keep auditing a crime scene instead of building a future. Your tenderness, gone. Your laughter, diluted. Your art, muted. Your discernment, fogged by suspicion. Meanwhile, your future keeps getting charged a penalty for expenses you didn't even choose. Yesterday has you on autopay, and the bill drafts from your joy account. That's the plot. Paralyze the builder by preoccupying the believer. Let me flip it. Getting even is expensive. Getting free is priceless. Getting even spends your peace to purchase a momentary high. Getting free banks your peace and multiplies it into decades of clarity. Getting even keeps your hands dirty and your spirit cluttered. Getting free keeps your hands clean and your spirit clear. You want to know why you feel weaker after the perfect comeback? because you just tithed strength to the same darkness that tried to break you. You didn't regain ground, you rented rage. You didn't close the case, you kept court in session. So here's your strategy, warrior. Starve the trap, refuse the rerun. When the scene tries to stream, cancel the subscription. When the itch says, say something, let discernment answer, not today. Trade the adrenaline for authority. Trade the performance for presence. Trade the proof for peace. Let them keep the last word. You keep the last laugh of longevity. You're not retreating. You're reloading with rest, with wisdom, with worship. Hell doesn't fear a loud clapback. It fears a liberated heart. And that is who you are, dangerous to darkness, unavailable for bondage, too expensive for revenge to rent. Listen to me. The reason your tongue keeps catching fire and then going quiet right before you send it is not weakness. It's consecration interrupting carnality. It wasn't restraint. It was rank. It wasn't silence. It was stewardship. You are not petty. You are priestly. Your mouth is not a weapon for gossip. It is a gate for glory. I have separated your voice to bless, to build, to birth. I won't let you spend golden syllables on mudslinging. I won't let you trade prophecy for pettiness. And the world says, say it louder. But heaven might just be whispering, say it holier. You feel the injustice more because you're wired for righteousness. That ache in your chest when things are wrong, that's not drama, that's design. I put a plumb line in your spirit that hates crookedness. You're right to want wrongs made right. But hear me, your response must match your assignment. You don't fight filth with filth. You don't correct darkness by dimming your own light. You don't heal violation with retaliation. You steward that fire and turn it into prayer, into plans, into blueprints that outlast slander. Clean hands, clear spirit, that is the uniform of your calling. I trained your hands for war, yes, but not to waste ammunition on wounded people. Your hands were taught to build altars, raise walls of intercession, draft strategies that outmaneuver sabotage. Your hands were consecrated to lift the fallen, to sign contracts heaven authored, to hold babies of promise, to carry oil, not stones. If you empty your clip on clapbacks, you'll have nothing left for construction. If you spend your warfare on wounded egos, you starve the battles that actually matter. Not every provocation deserves your power. Not every hit is a hint to swing back. Some hits are invitations to ascend. Receive this reversal. It wasn't passivity. It was power under discipline. It wasn't fear. It was focus. It wasn't you avoiding the smoke. It was you protecting the flame. I have made your life a lamp, and lamps don't brawl, they burn. Lamps don't debate, they dominate darkness by simply being what they are. And maybe that's you, fingers hovering over a rebuttal that could win the internet and lose your intimacy. Step back, breathe. I am blocking your revenge because I am protecting your oil from contamination. Your oil cannot mingle with their motives. Your anointing doesn't belong in alley fights. It belongs in upper rooms. If I let you clap back, you'd get your moment and miss your mantle. If I let you drag them, you'd drag your destiny through the same mud. I love you too much to sponsor that. So here is your consecration creed. Guard your gates. Govern your mouth. Guide your hands. Speak life where death tried to enroll you. Bless when cursing would be easier. Build when burning bridges would feel better. You are not muzzled, you are measured. You are not silenced, you are set apart. Keep your heart clean and your spirit clear and watch what I build through the hands I refuse to stain. You're not losing, you're leveling up. You're not ignored, you're insulated from manipulation. Keep walking, builder. Your restraint is rank and your stillness is strategy. Listen to me. I keep receipts. I don't misplace pain. I don't round down tears. I don't forget details because I am the judge who also stood in the room while it happened. And the world says, who's winning the narrative? Who has more likes? Whose version went viral? But heaven might just be whispering, who has integrity? Who has motive? Who stayed clean when the mud flew? The world tallies applause. I tally intent. The world counts headlines. I count heart lines. You want to know what's on my receipt? What they said in public and what they implied in private. The tone that cut you while the words stayed technically polite. The laughter that sealed the lie. The late-night deletions. The back-channel suggestions that sabotaged you while they smiled through the meeting. The post crafted to pull sympathy and push a slant. The silence that functioned like agreement. The deflection that made you look unstable. The way they weaponized your vulnerability and then blamed you for bleeding. I itemized it, line by line, time by time. Hear me. God saw it. God logged it. God will answer it. I time-stamped your tears. I archived the sigh you couldn't explain. I cross-referenced patterns you only felt but couldn't prove. I traced the fingerprints on doors that mysteriously closed. I measured the weight of words that sounded like concern but carried poison. I recorded the motive beneath the move and the spirit beneath the smile. You were too traumatized to articulate. I wrote it down when your tongue failed. When your voice trembled, I became your stenographer. And maybe that's you, staring at the ceiling, building a case in the dark because daylight keeps doubting you. Lay it down. My silence is not absence, it's evidence in process. When I am quiet, I am not indifferent, I am thorough. I am arranging timing so the harvest matches the seed, and the lesson heals more than your pride. I am protecting you from fighting prematurely, while I align consequences that teach, expose, and avert future harm. Don't interrupt the audit. Don't forge my signature with your flesh. The courtroom of heaven is not late, it is exact. And the world says, if nothing's happening, nothing matters. But heaven might just be whispering, if you don't see it, it means I'm preserving purity in the process. I don't do drive-by judgments. I do detailed justice. I don't guess. I weigh. I don't look at spin. I look at spirit. I track not just the act, but the agreement, the hidden yes they gave to darkness, and the rehearsed no they performed for people. Nothing slipped past me. Not the screenshot, not the sigh, not the smirk. So here's your instruction. Keep your boundary, keep your peace, keep your hands clean. I'll handle the receipt. You don't have to chase rumors when righteousness is already in review. Your rest is not negligence, it's trust. Your quiet is not surrender to lies, it's surrender to lordship. Breathe, builder. The ledger is accurate, the audit is active. The outcome will be holy. God saw it. God logged it. God will answer it. You're not forgotten. You're fortified. Keep walking. Listen to me. You didn't start out guarded. You started generous. You believed the best. You opened your table, handed out passwords to your peace, shared blueprints with people who clapped in public and critiqued you in private. You cast vision and they called it us. Until us cost them ego. Support turned into sabotage while you were still setting places for them. And the world says, poor you, left, used, discarded. But heaven might just be whispering, blessed you, spared, separated, secured. Smiles turned into slander. Advice turned into control. Love turned into leverage. Laughter turned into a ledger they tried to collect, with pity notes and guilt invoices. They were warm in the lobby and cold in the boardroom. They said, I've got you, but the fine print read, as long as I'm above you. Sound familiar? I watched it all. Remember the night you felt crazy because the speech was kind but the spirit was crooked? You weren't crazy, you were discerning. And I loved you too much to let that mixture mature. Hear me. What you named betrayal, I called pruning. I don't just cut dead branches, I cut diseased ones that look green but carry rot. I won't let root rot reach your fruit. I will allow people to walk away so they can't walk with you into your calling and ruin it from the inside. Not every exit is loss. Some exits are life support. I separate to save. I remove to reveal. I subtract to secure multiplication. You can't hold if your trellis is tangled with toxic vines. Consider the mercy inside the loss. If they could betray you in the hallway, imagine what they would do in the throne room of your next season, when the stakes, the influence, the oil are heavier. If they fumbled you at the door, they would have dropped destiny on the platform. If the whisper was harmful outside, the microphone would have been fatal inside. I am not punishing you with departures. I am protecting your future from contamination. So breathe and stop chasing them down. You don't have to run after branches I already laid on the ground. You don't have to tape back what my pruning shears released. Revenge wants you to water what I've already uprooted. Don't. You'll drown your own garden. Let the cut heal. Let the canopy thin so the light can touch what was shaded by their shadow. While you were drafting clapbacks, I was drafting a cleaner circle. While you were crafting proof, I was crafting protection. And maybe that's you, grieving the gaps where people used to stand. I see you. Mourn, but don't move the boundary to fill the emptiness. Emptiness is space for me to plant loyal ones who won't need a leash to stay true. Keep your soil clean, keep your standard high. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. It's not isolation, it's insulation from manipulation. You're not abandoned, you're advanced. Lift your head, builder. Let pruning preach. I am making you storm-resistant, snake-proof, spiritually bulletproof. Forward. We're not reaching for what I removed. We're reaching for what I reserved. Listen to me. Forgiveness and reconnection are not twins. They're distant cousins who only meet at family reunions when wisdom says it's safe. Let me give you language so the fog lifts. Forgiveness is releasing the debt they owe you in your heart. No more interest, no more late fees charged to your peace. Trust is earned currency, acquired by time, truth, and tested patterns. Reconciliation is mutual, a two-way bridge built with repentance, repair, and reliable fruit on both sides. Access is selective. The door to your life has levels, and not every "I'm sorry" is a security badge. And the world says, if you're over it, let them back. But heaven might just be whispering, if you are healed, honor the healing with holy boundaries. You can wish them well without welcoming them back. Here's the blueprint for chosen ones who refuse to be spiritually seduced. Number 1. Forgiveness is non-negotiable for your freedom, but access, that's negotiated by their behavior, not your feelings. Trust what patterns preach louder than promises. Number 2. Require accountability. Not, I'm sorry you feel that way, which is manipulation in a tuxedo, but I was wrong. Here's how I'm repairing it, and here's who I've submitted to for oversight. When there is no accountability, keep your distance. Watch the warning signs. Repeating patterns dressed in new vocabulary. Spiritual gaslighting that twists scripture to make you the problem for having a standard. Triangulation, using third parties to carry messages and manage perception, never coming to you directly because truth would end the show. Image management, public penance with private pride, a curated apology that photographs well but produces no change. If you see these, that's not a cue to hug it out. That's a cue to hold the line. Boundaries are not a lack of love. They're the guardrails that let love stay pure. Discernment is power. Once you stop being gullible, the manipulators stop being friendly. Take that as confirmation, not condemnation. Their distance doesn't mean you're too much. It means their tactics are now too weak. When you refuse to be recruited into chaos, chaos calls you cold. Let it. You're not cold, you're clear. You're not hard, you're holy. Being unmanipulable is not arrogance. It is honor for the oil you carry. Now lean into the inner work. Boundaries aren't walls of hatred. They're gates of stewardship. Gates open and close on wisdom, not wounds. A healed heart can still say no. A merciful spirit can still require fruit. Place people in the right courts. Some can stand at the outer court of cordiality, few are permitted into the inner court of counsel, and only the proven, pure, and peace-producing enter the holy of holies of your vulnerability. This isn't punishment, it's priesthood. And maybe that's you, wondering how to move practically. Here's how. You release the debt in prayer and you renegotiate access in practice. You look for confession without conditions, change without coaching, initiative without being prompted, consistency across platforms, public, private, and pressured. You stop rewarding speeches and start measuring standards. You stop needing them to understand you and start requiring them to understand impact. Where there's spin, keep space. Where there's sober ownership and steady fruit over time, you may cautiously extend the gate on a trial hinge, supervised, slow, and subject to reversal at the first sign of triangulation or image management. Hear me. Forgiveness clears your heart. Boundaries guard your destiny. Keep your heart clean so your worship flows. Keep your gates governed so your future isn't vandalized by familiar spirits in friendly faces. You can bless from a distance. You can pray without granting proximity. You can honor God and honor yourself at the same time. Wish them well over there. Keep building over here. Clean heart, clear spirit, closed door where wisdom says, not now. That's not fear, that is formation. That's not pettiness, that is priesthood. Keep walking, builder. Your boundaries are proof you believe you're chosen. Listen to me. We're moving from courtroom to communion now, out of cross-examinations and into encounter. The secret place is where I detox your nervous system from the adrenaline of accusation and restore your spiritual hearing that grief has muffled. In the quiet with me, your pulse stops arguing with ghosts. Your breath returns to its right cadence. Your mind dismounts the witness stand and becomes an altar again. You don't have to prove anything in here. You just have to be mine. And the world says, show the screenshots, gather the witnesses, force the confession. But heaven might just be whispering, bring me the ache, not the evidence. Let me be the witness you were denied. The craving for proof is understandable. It's you hunting for validation in a wilderness of gaslight. But hear me, proof keeps you tethered to their opinion. Presence ties you to my voice. Proof keeps you scrolling their feed. Presence keeps you feeding on my word. Proof reopens rooms I already locked for your safety. Presence reopens wells of joy you thought were dry. Freedom doesn't come from them admitting it. It comes from you meeting me in the secret place. So come as you are and do what we do in holy privacy. Name the wound. Say it plain. This cut me here. This memory trembles here. I am not intimidated by your honesty. Then surrender the outcome. Place the gavel back in my hand and say, you judge true. You time right. Bless without enabling. Pray good for them without reopening gates I closed. Ask me for clean hands when your fingers itch to type. Ask me for wisdom instead of vengeance, strategy instead of slander, intercession instead of interrogation. I will meet you with a balm that doesn't erase your memory but drains its poison. I will untangle your thoughts from the trap of needing to be understood by people who profit from misunderstanding you. This is the trade I'm asking for. Exchange proofs for peace, adrenaline for authority, exposure for abiding. In this room, I rinse accusation off your ears so you can hear directions again. I clear the fog of hypervigilance so you can see the path without checking over your shoulder every 5 steps. In here, we switch from replay to revelation, from noise to knowing. What you were chasing in public, I hand you in private. And here is the reframe you need to memorize until it lives in your bones. Peace is the receipt you were really asking for. Not likes, not their apology on camera. Not a viral vindication. Peace. A settled heart that hell can't hack. A quiet spirit that cannot be baited. A rest that becomes armor, and maybe that's you, tired of building cases, ready to build again. Then close the door, whisper their names into my hands and release the grip. Let the tears testify while your tongue rests. Stay long enough for the tremor to slow, for the lie to lose its volume, for my presence to become the loudest fact in the room. You will rise from the floor carrying what proof can't purchase: clarity, compassion with boundaries, courage without bitterness. You won't need to clap back because your countenance will preach, "I'm not owned by that story anymore." You're not retreating. You're being refit in the armory of peace. You're not silenced. You're strengthened. You're not forgotten. You're fortified. Meet me in the secret place and walk out with your receipt. Peace in your chest, promise in your step, and your future unchained. Listen to me. Peace is not the end. It's the platform. Once I seat you in rest, I move on your behalf, with a vindication that requires no violence and achieves justice without sin. And the world says, make them feel what you felt. But heaven might just be whispering, watch me heal what they harmed. A godly vindication is not you destroying them. It is me restoring you, your name, your voice, your opportunities, your influence, your ease. I don't just clear the mud, I crown you with clarity. I don't just hush the lie, I amplify the life I put in you. Here is what you can expect when I move. I do not rush headlines, I address roots. I am not late, I am thorough. I untie the knots beneath the narrative, the secret agreements, the patterns of manipulation, the quiet endorsements that kept the spin alive. While you rest, I rearrange the room. Alliances that were built on flattery start crumbling under truth. Positions that protected the lie begin to shift. Doors that open to disorder close, and they can't explain why the handle won't turn. Conversations you're not in begin to pivot because conviction entered the chat. You didn't campaign. You didn't call in favors. You just kept your hands clean, and I set the table. Vindication often looks like this: exposure of patterns without your press release, natural consequences ripening from seeds they thought were sterile, invitations appearing at your doorstep you weren't in the room to request, favor finding you like a homing beacon because you stayed in integrity's lane, your name being mentioned in rooms that once mocked you, this time with honor and urgency. Their access drying up where it was leveraged to harm, their wins stalling where they were fueled by spin. Truth surfaces not because you shouted, but because I opened the floorboards and light did what light does. Guard your heart when this happens. The goal is not their humiliation. The goal is your liberation and my order. Don't screenshot their stumble and call it worship. Don't dance on outcomes that I designed to discipline, not to destroy. Leave space for repentance even as you maintain boundaries. You're a priest, not a prison guard. Celebrate deliverance, not downfall. And the world says, post the proof. Say, I told you so. But heaven might just be whispering, posture for purpose. Say nothing and build. Receive this reversal. It wasn't you getting even. It was me making it right. It wasn't karma. It was kingdom order. It wasn't luck. It was lineage, chosen bloodline, consecrated path. I pay you back in peace you can sleep on, in platforms you don't have to perform for, in partnerships that carry purity, in years returned to your productivity that bitterness tried to bankrupt. I reimburse your reputation by letting your fruit preach in seasons where your words would have been wasted. And maybe that's you, feeling the wind shift. Hold your line. Keep your hands holy and your spirit clear. Bless, don't boast. Build, don't broadcast. Let the verdict read what heaven already wrote. vindicated, not vengeful, restored, not reactive, advanced, not entangled. You're not forgotten, you're fortified. God can vindicate you so cleanly that you never have to get your hands dirty. Forward, builder. The order is being set. Listen to me. We are at the threshold. The order is being set and the wind is at your back. Don't reach for yesterday's chains while today's door is open. Wipe your tears. Unclench your fists. Slow your breathing. Stop rehearsing speeches to people who chose misunderstanding as their home address. Close the courtroom in your mind. Court is adjourned. You don't need a final argument. You need a final release. Put the gavel back in my hand. Let your heart get light enough to travel the distance I'm sending you. Renounce it now. Don't trade your oil for an argument. Don't trade your future for a moment. Don't trade peace for proof. Don't trade clarity for closure they'll never deliver. Don't trade your mantle for a meme, your mission for a momentary clap, your consecration for a comment thread. Don't water what I uprooted. Don't audition for rooms I already fired. Don't negotiate with narratives I've already overruled. And the world says, one more post, one more push, one more point. But heaven might just be whispering, one more prayer, one more boundary, one more brick. Receive this identity carved in stone. You're not forgotten. You're fortified. You're not rejected. You're redirected. You're not cursed. You're called. You're not passive. You're postured. You're not fragile. You're focused. You're not muzzled. You're measured. You're not losing. You're leaving what lost you. Let these lines become your armor when nostalgia tries to sell you a cheap reunion with pain. Here is your commission, builder. Walk away with discernment, not bitterness. Eyes sharp, heart soft, gates governed. Carry softness with boundaries. Tenderness that doesn't tolerate toxins. Kindness that doesn't cosign chaos. Move in courage without revenge. Bold steps without bloody hands. Brave yeses without petty detours. Bless from a distance, build at close range. Keep your hands holy and your spirit clear. While they monitor your story, you mature your soul. While they bait you into noise, you bury foundations in quiet. While they chase moments, you birth movements. Lamps don't brawl, they burn. Be the flame. Tie off the loose ends in my presence and leave the knots to me. No more picking up old weapons I already retired. No more scrolling the crime scene for closure. No more midnight monologues to ghosts. Your next season requires a free heart, light enough to run, clean enough to carry, strong enough to love again without granting old access. Guard your gates, but don't calcify your compassion. Hold your standard high and your shoulders loose. Smile at the future because you are not chained to the past. So here is the final word. Chosen one, don't get even, get free. I'll handle the receipt. Leave every invoice of injustice on my desk and keep walking, case closed, heart open, eyes forward. Step by step, piece by piece, you are becoming a warning to hell and a witness to heaven, vindicated without violence, advancing without vengeance, holy and whole. Forward, builder, don't reach back. Build ahead. I am with you in the wind.